In this lecture we will see costing and pricing or bidding calculation. The situation is you are an employee of a contractor, your boss gives you an RFP which he obtained from the customer company. RFP or tender or bid document. Your boss tells you to prepare a financial quote to be submitted to the customer. You study the SOW, statement of work, or some people call it as scope of work also, and analyze it. Your finding about the project is that it needs 3 work packages, 3 deliverables. Each work package can be done by performing 2 activities each. After you discuss with technical persons and consider market prices or taxes, you find out that each activity will cost you, including manpower, machine and material, as the amounts mentioned below. What will be your bid amount or price in this case for the total project? So this is the total project and it has 3 parts: work package 1, W1, work package W2, work package W3. Work package 1 can be done by performing 2 activities each, A1 and A2. W2 can be done by performing A3 and A4. W3 can be done by performing A5 and A6. Considering the durations, manpower, machine, material, everything, we calculate that A1 will cost us roughly around $6,000, A2 will cost us $4,000, A3 $3,000, A4 $2,000, A5 $10,000, and A6 $6,000. So this is the situation. Now you need to calculate what will be your bid amount or price in this case for the total project. So starting from first step, that you have already studied RFP, request for proposal. Second step, you have defined the work packages, defined the activities, you have done cost estimation on the activity level already. Third step is you need to aggregate or roll up the cost first on work packages level and then on the project level. So A1, A2, 6,000, 4,000, that means work package 1, W1 will cost you $10,000. A3 3000 and A4 2000, W2 work package number 2 will cost you $5,000. Work package 3, activity 5 10,000, activity 6 6,000, so it will cost you roughly $16,000. So when you combine these three numbers you will get $31,000. So that means this project will cost you around 31,000. This is called as direct cost. After you calculate the direct cost, which is 31,000, fourth step is you need to add risk reserves. Risk reserves are of two types: contingency reserves and management reserves. Contingency reserves are for known unknowns. Management reserves are for unknown unknowns. From the name itself you can get an idea that during planning the scenarios or events or risks we identify, we list in the risk register and we keep reserves for those identified risks which are called as known unknowns. This reserve is called as contingency reserve. Some risks are difficult to identify in the planning stage. We will get them as a surprise. So they appear as issues when they occur. They are called as unknown unknowns. So it is impossible to find or imagine in advance, or maybe because of lack of time or lack of information or maybe lack of interest, sometimes miss these risks. So there is another layer of reserve that is kept for that is called as management reserves. Now management reserves, as there is no breakdown, so this is just a lump sum value or a percentage on the basis of past experience. But for contingency reserves there are multiple options. You can keep a percentage also, lump sum amount also, or you can do calculation also. One example calculation I can show you. For example, There are 50 negative risks in your risk register. This data is not related to previous example. So just to give you an idea about calculation, I have just created these numbers. There are 50 negative risks. Negative means the impact will go against the project. That means time can increase because of this or cost can increase because of this. When we say positive risk means the price can reduce or cost can reduce because of this, or it will result in saving, or it will result in time saving. We can finish before time. It could be activity before time, it could be project before time. So there are 50 negative risks in your risk register. On average, the probability of each risk is 25%. On average, the impact of each risk is $3,000. So just to understand the concept, I have kept simple numbers here. There are 10 positive risks in your risk register. On average, the probability of each risk is 25%, and on average, the impact of each risk is $3,000. How much will be your contingency reserves? So the calculation is, first we need to calculate the impact of negative risks, which is 50 into 0.25 probability into 3000 impact. So it looks like this project will have an overspending of 37,500. On the same project we have some positive risks also. 10 positive risk into probability 0.25 into impact $3,000. So it looks like this project will have a saving of 7,500. So the difference between overspending and saving is $30,000. So in this example of this project, we will have $30,000 as contingency reserves. So this is just as an example here. So what we will do, we will add a contingency reserve here. So as an example only, I have assumed supposed $4,000. There is no calculation behind. Management reserves, I have added another 2,200, so the total will become symmetric, 20% of the project direct cost here. So without any specific calculation behind, I have just supposed $4,000 is our contingency reserves, $2,200 is our management reserves. So fourth step, we have added 6,200 as risk reserves. Fifth step, we need to add indirect cost. Indirect cost is rent of shared locations, annual licenses, cost of admin department, staff, HR departments, executive management, tea, coffee, pick and drop, stationery, medical bills, internet, utility bills of the head office. So these are considered as indirect cost. But remember, if we say rent of the head office, it is indirect cost, but if we say rent of the site office, it will be considered as direct cost. How to calculate the indirect cost? Project manager will get this percentage either directly from the finance department or indirectly from the finance department via top management. Finance department can calculate it on average basis because they have all the data available. For example, they have this scenario in 2019, all the indirect costs were $3 million. And in 2019, all the invoice amounts what we charged from the customers on the projects was $10 million. So roughly our indirect cost is 30%. Remember, indirect cost will be considered only when we are submitting a code to the customer. But if we are submitting an estimate or budget or baseline or plan to the internal management, it could be customer side project manager submitting to customer side top management, or contractor side project manager submitting to contractor side top management. In that case, we will not include indirect cost and profit margin. So assuming we have 30% as indirect cost. Last step or layer to be added here is profit margin. What do you think, how much should be the profit margin? Is there any upper limit of profit margin? Is there any lower limit of profit margin? Think about it. Pause this video here, note down your answers, and then resume to listen the answer. First of all, how to calculate the profit? This is top management decision. Top management will give you direction as per their business strategy. Is there any upper limit of profit? No, there is no upper limit. It depends upon industry, market, customer, competition, monopoly, or examples of factors which decide profit. There can be even more than 500% profit, for example, in technology, but in construction, it is difficult. So, industry to industry, it may vary. Is there any lower limit of profit? No, there is no lower limit of profit also. We can have zero profit. For example, sometimes we are we are not having any business these days. We decide to get zero profit contracts just to retain our team, or we are a new company. We want to have some good projects on our profile, or we are working on a proof of concept that if this is successful, maybe we will get so much business in the same direction. So there can be zero profit also. We can have negative profit also, sometimes intentionally. From day one we know we will be on loss, to kill the competition or to make sure the business does not go to the competitors. So once again, we were on step number 6. So let's say we assume we are going to charge 25% profit, which will be 11,625. Or if we go with zero profit, it will be 0. If we go with negative profit of 50%, for example, minus 23 to 50. So what will be the situation? The direct and indirect cost up till step number 5 was 46,500. So when we add the profit margin in these three situations, this will be the situation. With positive 25%, the price will be 58,125. With 0, it will be 46,500. With negative 50%, it will be 23,250. More explanation of the same point, that in which scenario we will include indirect cost and in which scenario we will ignore indirect cost. So remember, when the contractor side PM is submitting a financial quote to the customer side PM, we need to include indirect cost also, profit also. But when we are submitting the financial calculations or planning to the internal management to get the budgets approved, this situation could be on customer side also, contractor side also. So in this situation, we do not add profit or indirect cost. We just mention direct cost and risk reserves. Last point here, can we have a project that is in profit and over budget? Similarly, can we have a project that is in loss and under budget? Pause this video here, think about the answers, and then resume to know the answer. First question, can we have a project that is in profit and over budget? Yes, it is possible. Just imagine if the price was $75,000. Internal budget allocation on the contractor side was $50,000 and the project manager spent $65,000 on that. We still have some profit, but this project is over budget as compared to the internal cost baseline. Second question, can we have a project that is in loss but still under budget or saving? Yes, similar scenario. Price was 50,000. That means we are considering a intentional negative profit scenario where the contractor decided to charge the customer less than what it needed. Budget allocation was $75,000 and the actual cost was $65,000. So in this case, we are in loss but still the project manager has saved something. So this shows you cost is a different thing, price is a different thing. Thank you.